All right, welcome to our next stretch and release class. We're going to use spiky balls today. So if everyone's got one, let's use these. Or if we've got tennis balls, golf balls, anything in particular that might work, we can use those too. But we'll start with our feet. So we'll go standing up. So we're going to start right at the front of our feet here, just around this front sort of area here. Just rolling forwards and back, not going too far. Then we'll go side to side here as well. Just letting the feet relax over the top of the ball. Go for about 10 little rolls around that front forefoot. Might get some tingling into the toes, that one's normal as well. And then we're going to roll the ball a little bit further through the inside of that foot. So we're going to come through this medial arch on the inside and roll from front to back. Everyone's feet's going to feel a little bit different here. Rolling front to back. Take them nice and slowly here. The more you do it, the more you feel you can add some extra weight. Go for about 10 little rolls. 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. It should feel a little bit raw from that one. Stay in the same position here. Instead of rolling on the inside arch, we'll roll on the outside arch here. It's going to be a little bit harder to control, but putting as much weight as feels comfortable for you. Rolling on the outside of your foot, just like this. In and out. Going for about 10 there as well. Eight, 9, and 10. Okay, this is going to feel quite similar, but instead of rolling the ball, we're going to lean onto it, come off it, roll it a little forwards, lean onto it, and back. So we're sort of transferring our weight from the leg that's standing to the leg that you've got the ball on. So putting all your weight through one foot, holding it for a few seconds, coming off it, roll that ball a little bit further away, into it. I feel a bit stiff here. And back. If you find one spot that feels better than the others, stay in that one. Holding it there. Stop. A little bit further. Hold it if it feels like it's a trigger point that's referring somewhere else. And then release. Awesome. Shake the foot out a little bit. You should feel now like your foot's a little bit flatter in that foot, a little bit more released, which is great when we're doing stretching. But now we're going to have to go to the other side. It's the same thing. We're going to start rolling out the front of our foot. Lucky I painted my toenails today. Rolling that front bit, not all the way so it gets into the arch, just around that front pad. About 10 circles or back and forward ones here. And then we'll progress into that medial arch on the inside here. So rolling that foot a little bit over it. Find this one the most tender in most people. Go for about 10 rolls here as well. Seven. If you're really game and you find a spot, keep the spot there and you can flex and extend those toes against it. A really nice one if you're finding yourself really bound up. And then we'll go to the outside of that foot as well. 10 rolls back and forwards, round over that lateral arch here. Beautiful. That should be about 10. Now we're going to do that same weight where it's transference as we did before. So starting at the front of your foot, you're going to shift that weight from your standing leg onto the ball leg, hold it there for a little bit, transfer back and let the ball roll a little bit further in, transfer that weight again, and you flex and extend those toes as well if you find a good spot again, and release, and 3 more spots on this side. Two. And last little one, perfect. Nice way to start your day, stretching out your feet. Moving on from here, we're going to do a few little roll downs. We'll come back to the ball, but standing up nice and tall here, hands by your sides, or I like to down the front. Tucking our chin into our chest. We're going to roll our spine, making a nice little C shape. And roll, spine down is comfortable, and rolling back up, trying to keep these legs nice and straight. So we're not going for a bend like this. We're going for a nice roll. Tucking in and slowly coming back up using that core. We're going to go for 10 of these ones, and if you prefer to do them against the wall, using that as feedback, you're more than welcome. Tucking in and rolling. That's 5 more to go. Three, 2 to go. Four. And 5. Awesome. From here, we're going to come down to the floor and get some of our lower limb spiky balling in. So get the spiky ball underneath the bottom of your calf here, just sitting on the floor. Any particular spot that feels a bit tender, we'll start with the outside here. If you can, you want to use this ball as a bit of a fulcrum. Try and lift that foot off the ground and back down. Simple as that. Should feel pretty tight. So on the outside here, you can either point and flex your toe or just lift the foot off the ground and down, whatever feels more comfortable for you. I go for about 10 there, and then we'll move it on to the inside. One's great for runners, anyone that walks long distances, nice to get in through your calves. 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then we'll come onto the inside of your calf as well. So same thing, finding a spot that's a bit tender on the inside there, flexing and extending over the top. You can also roll that knee if you feel like you can get it better at a different angle. Everyone's a bit different. And then flexing and extending that foot over it. Awesome. Won't spend too long there because it's not very nice to do your calves, but we'll try the other side. Same thing. Starting on the outside, finding one of those tight little calf muscles, flexing and extending those feet. Or just lifting and dropping the foot, whatever feels more comfortable. And we'll go for a few more seconds here. You're coming onto the inner side part. So finding the spot, you can roll forwards, back, whatever feels more comfortable. Same thing. Awesome. Go for 5 little foot bumps. And we'll move up a bit higher. So most people are probably fluent in getting the spiky ball in their glutes, but we'll do it anyway. So basically we want to sit on the spiky ball, but you don't want it down this part of your leg. We want it up a little bit higher, just behind where you say your sit bone was. So from here, you can rock back and forwards over the ball. Or I prefer to find a spot that's a bit tender, and then slowly add your weight over the top of it. Let it release a little bit, and then we'll move on. So holding that spot. Even taking a few breaths while it's in a tight spot can help it release a bit quicker. And then moving on. So anywhere between the big sacrum bone and the side of your hip is good with these ones. Starting on our right side here. And take as long as you need with these ones. But I'm going to move this on to getting into the side of our hip here. So lying into your side, you want to get that spiky ball between the top of your hip bone of the pelvis and the top of the hip. So finding the spot there, rolling over the top of it. This one's really pokey for a lot of people. You can either gradually add a bit of weight to that ball, rocking back and forwards depending on where you feel like you need it. I'm going to hold this one for a couple of minutes or a minute. This one can be pretty biting in a lot of people. Awesome. Spend more time on that one if you feel like you need to. But we'll do the opposite side as well. So getting the glute, spiky ball in through the glute. When you want to go between your pelvis and the hip, somewhere in the middle there, not too far down. Then either rock and rolling over the spot or finding it and gradually adding a bit more weight. Awesome. And a couple more spots here. And then we'll move on to our side one. So up between the top of your hip bone, or the pelvis and the side of your hip, rolling onto the side of the ball here, rocking back and forwards. If it starts to refer pain to a different area, you can either hold onto it until it releases, or you can stop that one completely, whatever feels right for your body at the time. Awesome. Now while we're going through our hips, we'll get into kind of our hip flexors here. These are a little bit harder to actually demonstrate, but lying on your stomach, you want to find the front of your hip bone. And we're going to bring the ball inside there, but rolling on top of it. So you should feel a hard pelvis. On the inside of the front of that pelvis is where we're going to get our spiky ball into. So just lying on top of it here. We can either rock side to side or we can deeply breathe into it. It should feel nice and deep, a little bit like it's poking your tummy. It's not quite right. A bit of a feel. They're pretty tight in most people. Holding it there for a few seconds. Give 3 deep breaths in total here. And we'll go on to the other side. The same thing. And in front of your pokey hip, rolling that ball on the inside of it. And we're going to hold it there. Not the most comfortable, but it's a really nice release if you can get it right. 3 deep breaths. And release. Awesome. So, we're going to get a little bit higher here. We're going to come in our middle back section. So, between the shoulder blades is where we're aiming for here. Anywhere in particular is fine. Can be up here, can be down to here. Anywhere you feel works best for you. But grab your ball, if it's got 2 prongs to it, like a bit of a peanut roller, that's perfect. But getting this one between the shoulder blades, lying onto your back here. And you can either use this arm, twist and rotate, do some circles, or some back and forwards, or some side to side, whichever one feels more comfortable for you, gets the spots that you feel are a bit tender. Well, you want to work in a few different spots here. So anywhere between those shoulder blades is perfect. If you've got a sore neck, bring it up a little bit higher between those shoulder blades. If it's a bit more low back, we'll go a bit lower between the shoulder blades. And we'll feel in or out, up and down, or big circles. Making sure your neck's supported here and it's not straining to keep you up. If there is a spot that's particularly tender and you can't get through it, you can squeeze those shoulder blades together and reach up as high as you can in the air with your hands. So you're sort of pressing down into the ball and releasing up into the air. Down and up. Beautiful. Now before we switch sides, we are going to come up nice and high in that neck. Our ball is going to come just about here. There won't be shoulder blade in the way, but there'll be a big bulk of muscle. You feel like you're pushing everything up. From here, you can have your hands supporting your head, but you want to slowly rock your head. We're rotating side to side, or bending side to side, whichever you feel like gets the right group of muscles for you here. For me, it feels more comfortable in a bend. We're going to keep the ball there and bend away and towards the plateau. You can squeeze those shoulder blades together again to get a little bit more activation if you can't find a spot. The same thing with the arm in the air, squeezing back and forwards. Beautiful. That one can be a little bit cranky. So we're going to do the same thing in the neck, just onto the other side. Start at the top and head down the way. Starting on the top of the neck here, just between your shoulder and the neck, finding a spot and we're going to relax over the top of it. You can either press the arm up and down, hands behind your head, or you can rotate or side bend. Yeah, holding that spot down. Finding whatever angle seems to work best for you. Going with this one until you feel the release. Moving a little bit further down that shoulder as well. Arm up in the air, or two arms up in the air, whatever feels more comfortable. Your arms back and forwards, or side to side, or in a circle. Breathing through this one as well, don't hold your breath. And we'll keep moving it down, lower and lower and lower as we go. You can even start to extend your back over that spiky ball if you feel like you've got a good spot. Or rotating away or towards it, whatever feels better for your body. While we're still lying on our backs, we're going to get into our lats here, a little bit under the arm. So, lying onto your side, getting the ball sort of into the back of your armpit here. We're going to lie over the top here. This one can feel really hokey. Try not to put all your weight through it to start with, unless you've done this before and you're comfortable with it. But finding this little muscle here through the back of your arm, you're going to get the ball into here. And then holding it there so it doesn't slip out. You can rock back or forwards, or you can stretch that arm out as well. A really tight little one, great if you've been sitting at the desk all day. You're going to hold this one, breathing through it. And coming up a little bit higher, if you feel like you can. Quite a large muscle, so many different opportunities to be painful. You get some tingling in the fingers, that's okay too. Perfect. Before we roll back onto our backs, we're just going to get a little bit into the pecs here if you can. Lying on your stomach, ball's going to come just in between your shoulder and your chest. Lying down. So from here, you can start with your arm out to the side here. You're going to lift it up to get a bit more activation. Or you can reach up towards the sky. Or bend the elbow back down towards your feet. Or you can just hold it there if it's tender enough, just doing that one. This one's really nice to do up against a corner of a wall if you can as well. But for this purpose, we'll do it on the floor. Holding it and releasing. Beautiful. Go for as long as you need with this one, but we'll get into the lat on the opposite side. Lying onto your side, getting into that bulky bit of muscle under here. Finding that spot where you want to roll over the top of it if you can. Holding that ball if you need to, it can be a bit hard to get into. Holding it there. Either stretching that arm out or stretching it further away. Rocking back and forward or just breathing into it, whatever feels more comfortable. Or you can do a combination of everything. And then same thing, we're going to get into our pecs on the opposite side. So laying onto your chest. Sorry, pecs on the same side. The chest between the shoulder and the neck. Flying into your belly here. And rolling, lifting the arm up and down. Or you can reach up above you and back down. you want to, you can sort of do a swimming motion, this sort of movement here, whatever your body can tolerate. And now last but not least, a little one here, we're going to get into our lower back. So either side of your spine, you'll have this big groove down the middle, two big mountains on the top. You're going to aim to get it into one of those mountains on the side. So lying on your back on top of the spiky ball. All you have to do is hold it here or roll back and forwards over it. If you want to, you can sort of rotate the hips side to side as well. This one can be really painful for a lot of people, so take it nice and slowly, breathing into it. So either up or down, rocking that pelvis, or rotating those hips side to side. This feels pretty comfortable. We can come a little bit off the side of that mountain and a little bit towards the side of your hip here. And find a tight little muscle that works really well with your hip rotations towards that same side. And back in. Beautiful. Making sure you're breathing with these ones, even if they are a bit painful. And we'll do the other side also. So finding that spot where there's a big valley between the mountains, coming onto the opposite side, rolling up and down the peak of that mountain a little bit. Or if you find a soft spot, rolling off to the side and back and forwards over it. Keep moving that ball up and down if there's one spot that's more tender than the other. And getting into the side of that QL as well. And rocking the hips back and forwards. Beautiful. Well, hopefully there's some exercises that you can do with your spiky ball at home. No particular one works better than the other. I prefer a cork one because it's got a bit of give to it and doesn't hurt the environment with the plastic, but whatever works for you. See you all next week.